Section. My name is Paul Dezay. It's good to be with you on this Wednesday for Old Testament Day as we study the lectionary passages for this coming Sunday, the last Sunday after the Epiphany, the Sunday before the beginning of Lent. And so this is Transfiguration Sunday. And so we're studying the passages of Scripture this week in preparation for the conversation about the Transfiguration on Sunday. So the way this works is Monday we read a gospel passage, Tuesday New Testament, Wednesday, which is today, an Old Testament, and then Thursday is a psalm, and then Friday we put it all together and talk about the intersections, the themes, the threads that run through the passages, and then on Sunday we gather for worship, and the sermon and the songs and the whole service are inspired by these passages that we studied this week. It's such a great way to study the Bible, very transformative. All right, so this passage is connected to the Transfiguration, specifically because it mentions Elijah. And Elijah was one of the two people that were with Jesus beyond the disciples. It was Elijah and Moses. And so this is a story about Elijah that gives some context for him being there with Jesus on the Mount of Transfiguration. So this story is about passing the baton from Elijah to Elisha, so one prophet, giving over his responsibilities to his mentee, Elisha. And so that's the context. So the way this works is Elijah is going to be gathered up in a whirlwind. And that's how he's going to leave. So before that happens, there is this kind of repetitive phrasing here of Elisha telling Elisha, say, "Why don't you stay here?" And Elisha says, "No, I'm coming with you." This happens 3 times. There's prophets that come and say, "Elijah's going to be taken." And Elisha says, "Shh, stop, don't talk to me about it. I know it." And so it's kind of an interesting repetition to get to the point where Elijah asks Elisha, "What can I do for you?" And Elisha says, "I want a double blessing of your spirit." Then Elisha says, "If you see me when I'm gathered up in the whirlwind, then you'll receive that." A double blessing is an inheritance. It's what the firstborn would receive. So Elisha is asking for Elijah's his responsibilities to take over, to be the firstborn son, to take over the father, the spiritual father. He actually uses the words father at the very end when he's grieving, to take over for his father in the role of a prophet. It's quite the interesting story. Let's see if there's anything I left out. I found it interesting that Elisha is demonstrating loyalty. So even though Elijah says, "No, you don't have to follow me," Elisha says, "I will never leave you." So that demonstration of loyalty there is impressive. It's a journey. They're on a journey. They're going to several locations. One of them, these are significant locations in the Old Testament. One is Gilgal. That's the place where the Israelites camped after crossing the Jordan. Bethel, sacred site, house. That's what the word house of God. That's what Bethel means, where Jacob dreams of the ladder to heaven. And then Jericho, of course, is famous for the victory of the Israelites over the Canaanites. And then the Jordan, that's the sacred river that was parted to go into the Promised Land. And at that spot, when they cross over, Elijah takes his coat and hits it against the water, and the water opens up just like Moses did, and they cross on dry land. So there's a reference to Moses, who was also in the Transfiguration story. So there's a lot of good stuff in here. What can we take away from this? Well, first and foremost, it's a reminder of discipleship. That discipleship is about one person mentoring another person, so they inherit the faith. And parents, we do this with our children, and children are learning from their parents, but this also happens in the context of church and neighborhoods and workplaces where we're mentoring someone else to do what we do. And the idea of church is disciples making disciples. It's a fulfillment of the Great Commission, and we see that here with Elijah and Elisha. Now, if you're looking for a Bible study tonight at 6:30 on Zoom, I'm going to be talking about disciple making and some thoughts on that. So if you're looking for more information on that, I invite you, just let me know, and I'll get you the information tonight at 6:30 on Zoom. And so I think that's one thing. I think it's another thing is to be like Elisha and to practice loyalty, especially with the call that God is placing on our lives to walk into the footsteps of someone else, to fulfill our calling, in this case, to be a prophet. I think that there is a reminder here of mourning, that mourning is a expected thing. It's a good thing. It's part of the grieving process where we find healing. And Elisha grieves after the loss of Elijah as he's carried up in the whirlwind. So we could go on and on talking about that, but those are some of the things that stood out to me, as well as some of the application points is to be thinking about discipleship and mentoring. So I hope you have an amazing day. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk about Psalm 50, and then on Friday we'll do the intersection. So have a great week, everyone. Grace and peace.